Bang, we are live. And we have Dr. Doge joining us.
We're worldwide these days, guys.
Yeah, it seems like you're living it up out there on a yacht in an undisclosed location, but it seems like your altcoin trades are doing pretty well for you, John.
They are. When Doge in particular, but not recently. But yeah, it was nice to see Bitcoin get back above and get some decent bids, guys?
Yeah, it was unusual that we got that coming off that news in the UK, having the UK ban Binance. That resilience, though, I mean, I think it does say something about the current trend, but overall, I mean, we've had this happen before. We had Binance kind of be banned in the US before. Then they had, a certain period of time in which the US customers had to exit their accounts. But then Binance opened up a US branch that accommodated, those federal regulations. So I can imagine they're going to do the same thing in the UK in, the coming year. They want to get that business. So it was interesting to see the market hold up and be resilient in the midst of that bad news. I know it's been a little easy to scare with all this China banning and all of that stuff lately. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. CJ, I think on a more ordinary, timing in the market cycle, we'd see a much more profound move on the back of news like that. But like you said, I think, the fact that we kind of remain strong does tell you something about the trend. Do you think we're maybe reaching a point of some sort of like news exhaustion or approaching a bottom here at this current market cycle?
Yeah, I would definitely like to see some more bullish volume and breaking some critical resistance levels before I can say for sure that we've hit a bottom. Nonetheless, I mean, like what we've been saying, I think we can really only have, I'm not going to say we can only, but I think it is most probable that the worst we see is like another leg down to 27 or 26K. But being said, I'm still fine scaling in for the long haul at current price levels. What about you, Monty? What do you think?
Yeah, no, I'm in the same boat as you. I wish I was in the same boat as Dr. Doge right now, but I'm in the same metaphorical boat as you, CJ. And I agree. I think we're seeing exactly that happening, right? We're seeing some people begin to accumulate, put in some small buy orders and scale in at this price and kind of just forget about the interim price action. If we do see some vol, that's okay because people seem to be happy with buying at this price point. And I think that speaks to sort of the news exhaustion that we're seeing and also the sort of range bound price action that we're kind of hovering around at right above 30K. So I think, like you said, CJ, people are starting to, just put some Bitcoin, buy some Bitcoin at this price and kind of forget about the interim volatility. And I think that's really bolstering the market at the current level.
Yeah, when you look at Glassnode addresses that are designated as like accumulation addresses. And these are pretty much addresses that very rarely ever spend Bitcoin, or that Bitcoin that when it goes in, it very seldom ever leaves. Those addresses are still rising. I mean, they've been continually rising since, our drop down. So the long-term believers are not shaken whatsoever. Doesn't mean, they could be wrong, but they're still buying. And I think that's an interesting statistic on its own.
Absolutely. One other thing that's definitely worth mentioning is Ethereum and the price action we've been seeing in ETH. It is pretty similar to Bitcoin, but we're showing strength, amid some pretty concerning technical signals. We're bouncing off that 200 period moving average. We showed some strength last night and we're continuing to show some strength today. So I just wanted to announce to our audience that I'm going to go ahead after this episode. I'm going to put in a buy order for ETH. I like it at this current level. I think it's got good support to the downside. Relatively weak resistance to the upside until that 50 period SMA that's up at about 2,600, likely to be 2,500 at the time ETH meets that. And I think if we see some continued bullish price action this week in Bitcoin, I think ETH can show some a nice little rebound given the previous week of bearish price action. Also, we had that ETH options expiration that happened on Friday. I talked about how that could potentially alleviate a lot of the sell pressure in the market currently. So right after we get off today's episode, I'm going to fire up my Voyager app and go ahead and put in a buy order for Ethereum.
Or you could just do it now. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't want to front run the audience.
Like Dr. Doge.
I'd say, guys, that everything played out about according to plan. We did see weakness, even more so than we anticipated, obviously, into that Ethereum expiration last week. It certainly seems that people are a lot more willing to come in at both the sub 2000 Ethereum level, just a lot of buying, and at the sub 33 levels in Bitcoin last week. So I don't know why you break away from either of those. And I think if you're trading, as long as you set some stops around those kind of levels, like you said, CJ and Monty, could it breach down below 29 and go to 27, 26? Sure. Set a relatively tight stop and keep, rolling it up and trading it here with the idea that maybe they've squeezed out a lot of the weak hands. And I still say I think a lot of the altcoins are where I want to be right now. I'm not changing my hold on Ethereum or Bitcoin, but I'm looking around, especially at things like Binance coin, because of that, what you guys described happened over the weekend in London. And I think that the knee-jerk reaction is usually overdone, and that those coins will gain some strength after, providing that the rest of the market stays stable. I think Bitcoin, or rather Binance, is probably a pretty nice accumulation on the dips that you might see here.
Yeah, I agree, John. I think the way you just talked about playing this market is the exact way I plan to play it too. Use tight stops, be disciplined, because I don't necessarily think that, this run up right now is going to be that next leg up in that parabolic rally that we've been talking about. We're going to see some more, highs and lows over the next month or so, I think. But that being said, there's going to be some tremendous opportunity to trade this market. Like you said, the alts are going to, I think, perform tremendously well if we do see a Bitcoin rally back to 42K. And the same with ETH to 2,500. So I think, given the current price levels, there's going to be a lot of opportunities to play this market, but you definitely got to be disciplined and, watch this market closely, because it's going to be swinging pretty quick, I think.
Yeah. And maybe it's a great time to be in some of those options and putting on some spreads, without over levering, but putting on some just simple stuff like bull call spreads and things like that. Why not? Playing for, the next 3 months out till the September contract, putting on something between now and September between 30 and 40. Why not? I'm talking about Bitcoin there, of course.
Yeah. Bitcoin options are something we've been talking a lot about in the room. And I think over the coming months, we're going to really see the opportunities for those options plays become more clear. And I think, those price points that you just mentioned, John, are some appealing options price points. But let's get to our Doge of the day. And before we do, real quick, I want to give some props to my man CJ, because last week, even amidst a very bloody week in the crypto markets, you managed to find a winner, CJ, and that is CeeLo. This was basically the only one that performed, well at all, and it performed very well last week. A lot of people in our room made this trade on the back of your suggestion. I made this trade as well, and it worked out very, very profitably for me. We're back above that 200 period moving average as well as the 50 period moving average. So before we got into our picks today, I wanted to say, nice pick last week with CeeLo.
Thank you. They don't work out always, but of course it was nice to get CeeLo. That was just such an explosive trade. I mean, that was one of those that you take, profit at the first resistance level, and then it goes up another 25%. And you're like, why did I take profit? I know that was some of the sentiment of some of the traders in the room as well, but it was nice to see some positive price action out of that one.
Who are we streaming with?
You guys are streaming worldwide.
But isn't it a little bit,
Do they have any Doges of the day for you, John? I know you sometimes get pictures of your daughters.
Doge of the day for us today? No, they'll have some tomorrow, but they're kind of shy today.
Okay.
But they'll have some tomorrow. We've got a big cryptopreneur down there on the deck. That young man runs a crypto trading desk. So we'll have more insights tomorrow, guys.
Very
I'll
good.
see you then. I got to hop, but I'll see you guys then.
All right. See you, John. Thanks for checking in. Enjoy your day.
Thank you, guys.
Well, there goes John. But CJ, getting back to our doges of the day, I think just based on what we're seeing in, the start of this week with Bitcoin's price action, ETH's price action, do you see a lot of, opportunity across the board in the alt space this week? Or are you still waiting for some more volume to come in?
I think there's opportunity. Absolutely. I think it's crucial, though, that volume comes in, like you mentioned, and we just haven't seen it yet. That being said, I still think there's going to be some opportunities, possibly some outliers like CeeLo and what we saw, a little bit last week. So what I was looking for essentially on that trade was a kind of repressed asset, large divergence from the 20 smooth moving average, and something with very limited resistance to the upside. So when you have just a little bit of surprising volume that comes in, it can really flush through the order book and go up 10, 20% in just a day. So two assets that I really like are Aave and Stormex. So those are both, from a technical perspective, very similar in that sense. They just need a little bit more volume to come in first. But I do think those assets are looking very bullish. They're kind of rebounding off of those TD buy nines with limited resistance overhead, like I had said. So I'll be watching those two, and I'll keep you guys updated in the crypto room, which you can try for just $1 as well on the link below. But Monty, what do you got today for your Doge of the day, sir?
My Doge of the day today is comp. And the reason I picked comp today is it's largely based in, my Ethereum kind of thesis that I'm expecting for some Ethereum price action. But one thing that I've been harping on in the last month or so is looking for these sort of divergences in the price action of similarly trending assets. And a great example of this is, I think, the difference between what we're seeing currently in comp and what we saw last week in ETH. So one thing that was super important to my price prediction for ETH was the placement of that 200 period moving average. I was talking about how we were so far extended from it that a snap back to that level seemed likely. I'm going to switch back to the ETH chart real quick. And that's exactly what we got, right? We got a snap back down to this level. It acted as support and we kind of bounced from there. We're seeing something, pretty different in comp. And that is we are below that 200 period moving average with, a pretty significant divergence. We're coming off this TD buy 9 as well. So for me, like CJ was just saying, all that it takes for this one is just a little bit of volume, given the technical catalyst. And I think this thing could run back up to this 200 period moving average at 396. If you look at this chart, it may look like a small move, but that's still, a $100 move of over 25%, a 30% move for comp. So I think this is something that could happen within the next few days. I would definitely plan to take profit around that 200 period moving average and the 50 period moving average. I think that would be the best way to play this trade. But over the next coming days, I see some positive price action in the cards for comp. So that is my Doge of the day today, CJ.
Yeah, I was looking at comp earlier as well, too. I noticed that it had some good volume come into it. Let me just bring up the statistic. I think it was around, I don't want to speak too soon, but okay. A 46% increase in relative trading volume. So starting to see a little bit there. I like that pick as well. Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting week. I'm pretty excited. Also, the weekly close on Bitcoin, nice hammer candle, despite the negative price action last week. So, it's gonna be an interesting week here. See if we get some of these opportunities that actually come to fruition. But were you able to watch any of the Voyager race yesterday?
No, I didn't get to see any. I heard Landon Castle did great. I talked to Alex from Trade the Chain about it. He said it was, a great time. And yeah, that's exciting stuff. Did you watch it? I know you're a big racing fan.
I did not. I don't have cable. I have other means of watching stuff. But yeah, not many people know this, but Alex was formerly Formula One driver, like really has won a lot of championships. So I thought it was funny. He was given some pointers to
It's so funny how Alex doesn't lean into that part of his life at all. Like you'd never know that he was a Formula One driver or, any sort of athlete at all. I guess he's just, now he's just this New York dad, Puerto Rico dad. I don't know.
He is one of the most happy-go-lucky, guys. So always a pleasure. And don't forget, speaking of Voyager, if you're looking for a place to trade crypto commission free, sign up with Voyager and use the promo code REBEL25, and they will give you $25 free in Bitcoin when you fund the account with over $100. So you're already getting a fourth of that capital kind of backed and reinforced. So pretty good there from Mr. Ehrlich as well. But anyways, Monty, any final words here, sir?
No, just that, I was talking with one of our members in the crypto room, Michael Lefevers. We were talking on Saturday night. And one thing that he said is that, and I totally agree with, is something about, just the recent price action and what we saw in terms of the technicals and the divergence from the moving average this week, just in terms of kind of gut feeling and also sentiment that we're seeing across the board, seems like it's going to be a week of positive price action. So if you want to, get some tips, stay ahead of the market, you can come hang out with us at the Market Rebellion Crypto Room. You can try it at the link below me. It's just $1 for the first month, and you get access to the pro charting service, 24/7 of community of traders from all around the world. I was in there chatting with some people this weekend about, some potential ETH plays. And like I said, I'm going to be entering an ETH trade right after I get off this episode. I didn't want to front run all our viewers here or anything like that. I just wanted to give you guys a chance to enter that trade before me. And that's pretty much all I got. Come hang out with us, just $1 for the first month. And as always, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again tomorrow. Have a good one, folks.